today's video we are going to be doing another tier list today, and we're going to be ranking every single signing in the Premier League in the 2024 summer window. So I've got every single signing from the Premier League this summer, and I've got them in this tier list, and I'm going to put them into these tiers. So we have signing of the summer, we have good signing, average signing, meh, and flop. So I'm going to put these into the tiers based on my opinions on the signings. Now it's going to be based on, obviously, the player, how well I think they're going to do at their clubs, and of course the price tag for the player, how much they needed to play, etc. I'm going to put players in signing of the summer, and then at the end of the video I will take players out and decide who my one signing of the summer is. Now get in the comments below your signing of the summer and also your flop of the summer, who you think is going to flop the most, and if you disagree with any of these rankings then please do let me know. Now I'm planning on doing a similar thing which we did last year. So we did this exact same format last year, but what I did is throughout the season I came back to this tier list and did it again. I did it, I think, at like the halfway mark. I think I did it at Christmas and then at the end of the season, so that we could see how players moved across the tier lists throughout the season. So I plan on doing this again, so yeah, make sure you are subscribed so that you can keep up with this. And yeah, we have like 80 players here. There are a couple signings I have missed out because I can't fit every single player in here. Unfortunately the tier list doesn't allow me to. But there's a lot of players, so I'm gonna keep it brief on most of them, and yeah, we might as well just get into this because this is gonna be a while, mate, otherwise. Right, first up we have Joachim Andersen. Joachim Andersen has returned to Fulham. He has returned to Fulham. Now they need another centre back. Tosin Adarabioyo left. Joachim Andersen is a really solid Premier League defender. Done very well at Palace, has obviously played at Fulham before. I don't think he's played under Marco Silva though, but knows the club, isn't too old, wasn't too bad at feet. I think it's a good signing. I think it's a good signing. I don't really see too much wrong with it. Don't think it's good enough to be a signing of a summer contender, but it's a good signing. Next up we have Yakuba Minter to Brighton from Newcastle. I really like this signing. I really do. Minter was on loan at Feyenoord last season, and I think if it wasn't for BSR, he would have been in the Newcastle team this year, but he had to sell him due to BSR, and Brighton picked him up. He's already made a pretty decent start to life at Brighton. I don't know about signing of a summer contender because they did actually pay a pretty big fee. It was around like 30 million, which is quite big. So I'm going to say good signing. I'm going to say good signing for now, but I really do like him as a player. Amari Hutchinson to Ipswich. Returned to Ipswich, was on loan there last season. They got him on a permanent. They did pay quite a big fee. I think it was like 20-25 million. That's quite a lot of money, especially for a club like Ipswich. But that being said, Amari Hutchinson was vital to them last season. Getting him back on a permanent is really good. He's also made a pretty good start to life in the Prem. Looks like he can play at this level. Yeah, good signing again. Good signing again. Don't worry, I'm not going to put everyone here. Jordan Ayew to Leicester. I was really confused when this happened. Like, I don't really understand the reason behind this. They paid like £8 million for Ayew. Ayew is a solid player, been a solid Premier League player. You know, has pretty good hold up play, link up play, etc. But it's not a player who you would say is really going to keep Leicester up at his age as well. You know, I think he's like 31ish. You really want to be spending £8 million on him? I feel like, yeah, I don't know about this. He does have experience. He is a decent player, but yeah, I don't really think this is a good signing at all, because if Leicester go down and Ayew doesn't work, if they're just gonna have to like let him go on a free or something. So for me, this is a flop. I don't understand it at all. If it's on like a loan or like a really cheap fee, cool. Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley has returned to Villa. This one happened so early in the window that low-key I kind of forgot this happened. Obviously from relegated Luton. He was really good at Luton, to be fair. But, I mean, I think he's just signed as a depth option. He's a decent player, decent Premier League player, nothing really more than that, so I think it's an average signing. Amadou Onana, right? This is probably our first, I guess, big hitter, one of the more expensive signings of the window. Onana to Villa. Obviously, he started off pretty well, and I think he suits Villa's system pretty good. He's really the replacement for Douglas Luiz, who of course has left Juventus. Do I think Onana's better than Luiz? He's better in different aspects of the game. I'll say they're very different players, but I would say overall, probably, and especially given his age, he can easily become much better than Luiz. So I think they've reinvested that money pretty well. Will it be signing of the summer? I'm not comfortable putting it there just because they have spent quite a bit of money on him. Like, it was quite a big fee. I think it was around £50 million. So for that, you know, you're really looking at someone who is going to become like a really, really good midfielder. I like Onana, but I don't think he's quite going to be a signing of the summer. But I think it's a good signing. James Ward-Prowse has gone to Nottingham Forest on loan, I believe. I'm not sure if there's an option to buy now. I'm assuming there is. And you know what? I think that's a good signing for Forest. Forest get a bit of a depth option in there, a little bit of a different option to those midfielders they have in there. Yeah, Ward-Prowse wasn't too bad for West Ham. He was okay. Just they've signed loads of midfielders, and to get him on a loan as well is pretty good. Can help you out for a year. Lots of experience. I like that a lot. Sepp van der Berg, I believe this is, has joined Brentford from Liverpool. Now, this one's interesting. It was for a pretty big fee. It was like 20-25 million, which is quite a lot for somebody who has never played in the Premier League before, is still quite young, relatively unproven. But that being said, he had a great year at Mainz last season in the Bundesliga. As I said, he is young, he has potential to grow. Brentford definitely need another centre-back as well. You know, Pinnock, etc., Ben Mee, aging out slowly. They did need another one in there. I don't know about the fee, and again, he's relatively unproven, so I'm going to say average for that reason. Calvin Phillips to Ipswich. Calvin Phillips has joined Ipswich on a loan, and I actually think it's a really good signing. Not a signing of a summer, but it's a good signing. Phillips, as we know, is a good player, has lots of ability. Hasn't worked out for him since joining Man City. Had a pretty bad loan at West Ham, but still, for a club like Ipswich, he definitely has the potential to become a really good midfielder if they can get the best out of him and potentially be that difference maker to keep him up. Equally, though, it could really go bad. I'm assuming they're probably not paying all his wages, but they're probably paying quite a high wage for him. But yeah, I mean, they didn't buy him, it's a loan. And as I said, if they can get the best out of him, then they've got a really good midfielder on their hands. We have Ian Martson to Aston Villa from Chelsea. Yeah, good signing. Good signing again. I really like Ian Martson. I was quite sad that we sold him. He did really well at Dortmund. Obviously, he got to a Champions League final with really nice player. I think he suits the Villa system pretty well. They got him for a decent fee, obviously involved in that sort of PSR deal as well. So yeah, I think a really, really good signing for Villa. And yeah, him and Digne at left back is really, really nice now. Okay, next up we have Savinho. Now, if you watch my Premier League predictions video, you would know that where this guy's going at signing of a summer contender. I was very, very hot on this signing early on. I picked him, you know, as one of my signings of the season. Will he remain that now that other signings have been made? I don't know, but he's definitely be in contention. I absolutely love him as a player. And yeah, he's already made such a good start at Manchester City. I didn't actually expect him to be, you know, this good straight away. I thought it would take a little bit of time, but yeah, he is lighting up. Daichi Kamada to Crystal Palace is the next move. I'm gonna say average. I mean, got him on a free transfer, so no transfer fee involved. But I'm assuming he was on pretty high wages for Crystal Palace. Knows Glasner, knows the system, which is good. He is around like 29-ish, so the age isn't the best. Has been okay so far, but I think, yeah, he's had a difficult time at Lazio. He's a good player, as I said. If they can get the best out of him, then he's going to be a good signing. But I just think, he's probably on pretty high wages. It's a little bit risky. But yeah, I think it's okay. Okay, this is Bilal El Khanous to Leicester. And you see, I was actually going to say signing of a summer contender, but I'm going to drop him down to good signing. So, Bilal El Khanous is somebody who is tipped as one of the actually best youngsters in the Belgium league. So I was actually going to do a video where I was talking about like breakthrough stars across Europe, sort of youngsters to watch, but I never got around to filming it. Bilal El Khanous was in that video, and when I did my research on him for that video, I found that this kid, like, last season was tearing up the league. He's super young, and people expect really big things of him. So for Leicester to sign him is really, really cool. The only reason I'm not putting it in here is because they've spent like 20-25 million on him, and I feel like for a team like Leicester, they could have kind of spent that on somebody who would maybe help them stay up right now, because I don't know if Bilal El Khanous is quite ready yet for the Premier League, and for a dogfight like this. I reckon if they go down, he'll rip up the Championship, but I'm not sure how much he helps them right now. And in Leicester's case, we're gonna rank sort of windows collectively, but it feels a bit weird that they're signing players like RU Footer now to help them stay up, but then they're spending all this money on somebody who's maybe not ready to help them right now. So I don't really know. That's why I'm not gonna say signing for summer, but I think this is a really, really cool signing, and definitely one player to watch out for this season. Okay, this is very small, so I can't actually. Is this? Hold up. Who is that? Oh, okay, Maxwell Cornet. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know why the picture was so small. Maxwell Cornet to Southampton. Good signing. I know I put so many good signing, but yeah, I think it is a good signing on a loan deal. I think there's an option to buy probably in there. Somebody with Premier League experience, hasn't worked out at West Ham, but I think is a really good player and will hopefully give Southampton something in that attack, because I think they do need it. Trevor Chalobah to Crystal Palace, again good signing. I would put this in signing of a summer contender, but for one reason only. Then it's just a straight loan. They haven't bought him, and there's no buy option in there, which really surprised me, because of course Chelsea have been really trying to push Chalobah out. So I would have assumed there would at least be a buy option in this loan, but there's not, which is a bit concerning if you're Palace, because there could be a sort of, I guess, Conor Gallagher situation here where they get a loan with a Chelsea player, he does amazing, goes back to Chelsea, and they, Palace don't get anything really from it. But I think it's going to thrive at Palace. I really hope he does. Chalobah's a top-class centre-back, and I think having that Glasner system with Gay as well is going to be absolutely superb. Oliver Skip to Leicester, and this is probably, you know what, I'm going to say flop. Yeah, sorry, it seems like a kind of a Leicester agenda here, but only two flops are Leicester signings right now, but again, it's not really anything against Oliver Skip. Oliver Skip as a player is fine. Like, I think he's just about probably a Premier League level player, but it's more so they spent around 20-25 million pounds on Skip, and I'm like, yeah, that really could have been invested in someone much better. Like 20-25 million can get you a lot better players than Oliver Skip, in my opinion. Again, Skip is a fine player. I'm sure he'll be pretty okay for Leicester, but for 25 million, you would really want somebody who is not just okay. You would want someone who is going to be that difference maker in terms of keeping you in the league. So yeah, flop. Oh god, who is this? Sorry, there were so many people. Gosh, wait, oh my god, who is this? Oh, Matt O'Reilly, okay. Yeah, Matt O'Reilly to Brighton, sorry, yeah, there's like 80 people in here, as I said, so it's hard to keep up. Matt O'Reilly to Brighton, good signing, good signing. A lot of clubs were interested in him from Celtic. A lot of Champions League level clubs also were interested in him, but Brighton managed to beat them to the race. You know, I've seen him play a few times. He looks really good. He's still kind of young as well. Still can develop into a top class player. I think it's gonna be great for Brighton. The only thing that's stopping him from going in there is the fee. I think it was quite a big fee. I think it was like 30 to 40 million or something like that. So it's a big old fee, but he's a really good player and it's a good signing. Lloyd Kelly, another good signing. Again, I'm sorry that everyone's going in good signing right now, but on a free transfer, a player with lots of Premier League experience, can play left back, can play centre back. Newcastle needed some depth. As I said, on a free transfer, you can't really go too wrong with this. I don't think he's going to be, Lloyd Kelly is not a player who's going to take you to, massively elevate Newcastle, really. So that's why I can't put him in there. But for a free, he's definitely a good depth option for them. Okay, Ben Burton Diaz is up next. And I think it's a good signing again. Yeah, Ben Burton Diaz, I like him as a player. I think he did really well at Sheffield United in that second half of last season. Proved that he's capable of playing in the Premier League, and I think for Southampton, with Jay Adams going, I think he's a pretty good replacement for him, and I think he'll score a decent amount of goals. They got him for a cheap fee as well, so yeah, good signing. Evan Nilsson, a big money signing from Bournemouth, and a bit of a coup, actually quite a big coup. Someone who was, starting games for Porto or playing European football, but in the Champions League, I think last season. I'm pretty sure Evan Nilsson scored like 6 goals in the Champions League last season, and he's gone to Bournemouth. That's pretty mad. They spent like 37 million or something on him, which is a big old fee for Bournemouth. He's a good player, but I think because of the fee, I'm going to say average, just because that is quite a big fee for a club like Bournemouth, even though it was for slanky money, I guess, reinvested. That's still a lot of money to be paying, and there is a chance that he could be a bust. There is a chance. I think it'll be fine. But I think for that sort of fee, you're really wanting him to become a star. Will he become a star? I'm not sure. Next up, we have Ismail Assar. To Palace. I'm gonna say average. Ismail Assar was really good at Watford. If this was the Watford version of Assar, I would say, maybe even signing of the summer. He was incredible for Watford, but then went to Marseille, and last season was really poor. Didn't really do much at Marseille. Obviously, he's still a good player, still has good ability, has come to Palace, kind of as the Elise replacement, I guess. Big shoes to fill. I don't think he's quite there to fill those shoes. Obviously, as I said, coming off a bad season at Marseille, but I still think he's a good player. So I think for that reason, it's an average signing. Emil Smith Rowe. Oh, this is a tough one to Fulham. I'm tempted. It's either good signing or signing of a summer contender. You know what? I'm gonna put him there for now. I'm gonna say signing of a summer contender. Emil Smith Rowe to Fulham. I really like this move. From a Fulham perspective, I think it's a massive coup. Fulham have been quite safe, I would say, in their recruitment in the last couple of years, signing players who maybe have past Premier League experience, not too much money being spent on these guys either. But I think this signing Smith Rowe was a real sort of changer here. It's a player who has a lot of potential to be a star, lots of ability as an exciting player, and you know, he started off pretty well at Fulham. We all know he has great ability. Injuries is a bit of a problem, which is why I was considering going there, but it's spent a pretty big fee on him as well. But the upside is so huge, I think, in this one, where he could potentially become, you know, a player they sell on for a really big fee if he bangs, or just stay at Fulham as, you know, a player who is just their star man. So yeah, I think for that reason he's a signing of a summer contender, as long as he stays fit. Next up we have Suganawara from Southampton from AZ Alkmaar. Good signing again. I think I included in my underrated signings of the summer so far. Really like him as a player from what I've seen. Obviously scored as well already for Southampton, which is good. Good attacking right back for them. Going from AZ Alkmaar, I think will be a solid player for them. Jack Clark is up next. Jack Clark to Ipswich, which is, for me, it's actually a signing of a summer contender. I think this is a absolutely sensational signing. Sensational. From Ipswich, for many reasons. Firstly, Jack Clark, I think, is ready for Premier League football. He was somebody who, I think last January, many clubs like West Ham, Bournemouth, stuff like that, I'm pretty sure were linked with signing him. He stayed at Sunderland in the Championship, did really well there, and was definitely ready to play Premier League football. Ipswich have managed to get him a decent fee, I think it was around 18 million or something, but I think it's good because, as I said, he can contribute now. I think he's ready for the Premier League, and even if he isn't, and if Ipswich go down, they now have one of the best players in the Championship if they go down in Jack Clark. So for that reason, I think it is a signing of a summer contender. Ethan O'Brien, okay. Yeah, that's Ethan O'Brien. No, wait, no. Jesper Lindstrom to Everton. Gosh, I'm getting confused there. Jesper Lindstrom to Everton. Average, I mean, I think it's a loan option to buy, is pretty sure is in there. Had a pretty good time at Frankfurt, not so much at Napoli. I'm not entirely sure if he suits for Everton, Sean Dyche's system, to be honest, but yeah, it's okay. Jorginho Rutter to Brighton. Interesting one now. I'm going to say average. I think that Rutter was sensational in the Championship for Leeds, absolutely incredible for them. But it's just the fee, which is, you know, a little bit worrying. 40 million is a big old fee for a player who has done it in the Championship, sure, but hasn't necessarily done it in the Premier League. So yeah, obviously, I think he's a good player, and I think he could do well at Brighton, but I think it's a big fee for a player, and it's a bit risky. Igor Diago, again, if you've watched my Premier League predictions video, you know where this is going. It's in flop. I don't like the signing at all. I think that they spent a lot of money on him. He's a record signing. To replace Ivan Toney, I guess. He's already injured. I don't think he's going to replace Toney and do well and score as many goals. He's a bit of a lump in the box. Like, he doesn't really offer too much. His link-up play isn't great. Yeah, and to be honest, looking at Brentford and the way they've played this season so far, I think they've kind of moved past this type of striker. So yeah, I don't like it at all. Liam Delap to Ipswich. I'm going to say average. I'll say average. I mean, you know, I'm not sure if he's quite ready for the Premier League yet to lead the line, because, you know, he was just about ready to be a Championship level striker last season. He did decent for Hull, but it wasn't like he ripped up any trees. So yeah, I mean, if they go down, they have a pretty solid Championship striker on their hands, but yeah, I'm not convinced he's really going to do too much in the Prem. Ilman and Dye to Everton. Average again, kind of similar similar reason to Ismail Assar. Very, very similar actually. He did amazing for Sheffield United, went to Marseille last season, didn't work out. Gone back to the Premier League, on to Everton. It's a bit of a risk, obviously, coming off the back of a poor season, but we all know he has really good abilities, and let's see how he does. I believe this is Matt's FIFA. Matt's FIFA to Brighton is actually a signing of a summer contender for me. I was really, really shocked to see him go to Brighton. He was at Feyenoord last season and did really, really well in that holding midfield role. I thought he was going to get a big, big move, you know, potentially actually join Arnie Slot again at Liverpool or something like that. He went to Brighton instead for a decent fee, not too much. It was like 20-ish million. So I think for that reason, I could see FIFA in a couple of years being sold on for a big fee. He's already started pretty decent as well. He's pretty young. Yeah, I love this signing a lot. I love it, love it, love it. Jaden Philogene to Villa. Yeah, I mean, it is whatever. I mean, I think it's just a depth option. They sort of saw an opportunity with their matching clause and said, you know what, it's a decent fee for a backup. Let's get him. So yeah, I'm not sure he's going to do too much. Jacob Greaves to Ipswich, kind of similar to Delap. Did really well in the Championship. Not sure how ready he is for the Premier League, but if they go down, they've got a solid Championship player on their hands. Tim Bunham to Everton. I think it's a good signing. I really like Tim Bunham. Didn't really get too many chances at Villa, but not because he was not good enough. I think he was good enough, but just had too many options in there. He's very, very young as well. Has a lot of potential. Was involved in, I think, a bit of a PSR deal as well. The fee wasn't too massive. Yeah, I think obviously he's kind of the Onana replacement, but not really. I think he is. Yeah, I think he's obviously not as good as Onana. Probably won't become as good as Onana, but I think he's a solid player. Eddie Nketiah to Crystal Palace. This is the first meh of the video. I don't know about this one, you know. I'm not really sure how necessary this really was. Like Jean-Philippe Mateta, obviously last season was absolutely terrific under Glasner. Had a good Olympics as well. So I'm a bit confused as to why they've signed Nketiah in terms of, you know, maybe it was a bit of a hot streak from Mateta, and they're like, okay, maybe it's not sustainable, but still, isn't Nketiah going to start over Mateta? Like, if Mateta does carry that on form on, Nketiah isn't starting. And then also, they spent like 25 million on him, which is quite a big fee for a player who is still kind of unproven in the Premier League, hasn't really proven himself. I do think, though, that he suits this Palace system quite well, and, you know, could potentially become a really good player for them. That's why he's not a flop, but he's a bit of a meh, because I'm not sure how necessary it was, and it's quite a big fee for a player who maybe isn't a nailed-on starter. Dean Hudson to Bournemouth, for me, is a signing of a summer contender from Juventus. He was really, really highly rated at Juve, and you know, the fact they've let him go is not because he's a bad player, it's just because that's kind of what Juve have done with some of. They've let go of most of their youngsters, and some really good players have come out of that Juve academy. Recently he was on loan at Roma last season, which kind of tells you all you need to know. The fact that Roma at his age were willing to loan him in and play him tells you how good a player he was. It was a cheap fee as well, like 15 million or something. Really young. I could see him potentially being sold on for a big, big old fee in the future. I think this is Wilson Odobet. I'm pretty sure this is Wilson Odobet. We'll just go with it. Wilson Odobet to Spurs. I'm gonna say meh. I'm gonna say meh as well. I just think that he wasn't entirely like necessary. I mean, kind of was, like, they did need another winger, but I would have preferred them to have gone for someone a little bit more proven. Audible was actually pretty decent for Burnley. I thought in moments did pretty well. He's very young, has a lot of potential, could become a star, but they spent a decent fee on him. I think it's around 20-25 million. I feel like for that price you could have got someone who's maybe a bit more ready to help you now. And you know, Spurs already have quite a few youngsters in that front line, so adding another one, not sure. Next up we have, I think it's Gruder, I think that's his name, or Bruder. He's joined Brighton from Mainz. Now, even though I don't quite remember his name, I do remember I put him when I did my European preview video, previewing all the leagues. I put him as one of the breakout stars for the Bundesliga. So he's now moved to Brighton, so for that reason I feel like I just have to put him in good signing. Yeah. But Mainz, he was really good last season. Has kind of been involved in the German national team already. I thought he was going to have an absolutely sensational year this year, but turns out he's going Brighton, and yeah, we know Brighton really good at developing talent, so yeah, I could see him being sold on for some big old fee. Sander Berge to Fulham, good signing, good signing. They were going to get McTominay, and then they were like, actually, wait, why don't we, instead of get McTominay, just get the guy United were going to sign to replace McTominay and go get Sander Berge. And I think it makes perfect sense because he's a bit more of a natural fit to replace a Joao Palhinha, a different type of player, but you know, is a bit more of a holding midfielder. They don't need a McTominay or anything, given they've got players like Andres Pereira and stuff. So yeah, I like him a lot. Sander Berge, solid player. The fact United were linked with him shows his abilities, and yeah, good signing. Kepa to Bournemouth. I'm gonna say average. I'm not sure how big an upgrade he is on Neto, to be honest with you. It's a loan as well, and like they've loaned out Neto. There's no option to buy either, so it's kind of like, what was really the point in this? As I said, I'm not entirely sure how much of an upgrade he is on Neto, but he's okay, I guess. It's alright. Next up we have Andre to Wolves, and this is a good signing. This is a really good signing. A lot of clubs were interested in Andre from Brazil. Big clubs as well. Wolves have managed to get him for like 20-ish million. Now I'm not going to say signing with a summer contender, just because, you know, he is still obviously unproven, and we'll see how good he really is, but this could potentially be an absolutely sensational signing from Wolves. Neto, I mean, I kind of just have to play it alongside Kepa. He's going as a backup keeper, sure. Yeah, whatever. Ferdi Kaliologiu to Brighton is a good signing. It's a good signing. I remember him for Turkey at the Euros, and he was absolutely sensational. Bombing forward was really good, really fun to watch. Quite a few clubs were interested in him as well, so for Brighton the game is really nice. And now they have with him and Estupiñán two of the, I guess, best attacking fullbacks in the league, so really exciting. Right, Jadon Sancho to Chelsea. Look, if I'm being completely honest, it's probably a meh. It's not quite a flop. But it's a meh because we don't really need him. It's kind of similar to Nketiah in a way. Like, was this necessary? Not at all. We have plenty of wingers. We didn't really need to get him. However, the reason it's not a flop is because we got him for a decent fee, you know, only like 20-ish million. That's not too bad, especially when you consider that he does have potential to become a really good player. We all know that. Whether we'll get that Sancho, I don't know. Probably not, to be honest. But as I said, the potential is there to bang, and it's a fairly low fee. So yeah, I'll say meh, but I don't think it was necessary at all. Chiesa, on the other hand, is going in the signing of a summer contender. I mean, what, 10 million? Talk this in terms of fee signings, and I'm gonna say meh. I actually like Solanke a lot as a player. I think he's a really good player, and I think he actually suits the Spurs system well. They needed a striker, they got it. I don't mind that. The only reason it's in meh is just because I think they massively overpaid for him. 65 million is a lot of money. A lot of money for Solanke. Anything above 50 for me is an overpayment for Solanke, because even though I like the player and I like the fit at Spurs, I just think it's a lot of money. I'm not sure if he's really going to justify that price tag, so I'm going to say meh. Armando Broja to Everton. I'll say average. I think he suits the Everton system pretty well. They needed another striker. They got it. It's a loan as well, so if it doesn't work out, then they can send him back. And if it does work out, they got an option to buy. Although I think the option to buy is a bit steep, to be honest, around 30 million. Who is this? Oh, Jorgensen. I'm gonna say meh. I don't really understand it, to be honest. I thought we signed him to be the number one, and if that was the case, I would say, okay, cool, I'll put him in average. But it appears that we've signed him as number two, and I mean, at that point, well, why are we signing another number two? We already had Petrovic, who is perfectly fine as a number two, so I don't really understand it, to be honest. But yeah, it's whatever, I guess. Okay, this is quite. I think that's Fulkrug. Yeah, that's Fulkrug. Nicholas Fulkrug to West Ham. I'm actually gonna say meh as well. That might surprise a couple of you. Now, it's kind of on the similar basis to Solanke, where it's nothing against the player. I really like Fulkrug as a player. You know, he's a really good sort of target man striker. I think he suits their West Ham system pretty well. The only problem is I think they've paid a pretty decent fee. It's quite a big fee, around £30 million for what? He's like 31. Really, for that fee, at his age, you're basically saying we need you to bang this season and, get us into like a European spot. And if he doesn't do that, or if he doesn't bang in this season, then really, he's 32 next year. You're not really gonna get your money back. And it's kind of like, okay, why have we signed him? He's probably on a pretty big wage as well. So yeah, for that reason, I'm gonna put it in meh, but I actually do like the fit. I like the player. Elliot Anderson to Forest. I'm always gonna say meh. I think this was sort of a PSR deal as well, but still, it was quite a big fee. From Newcastle. He showed good signs at Newcastle, but I wouldn't say, he was anyone who people looked at Newcastle and was like, wow, he's going to be a star. He is still young, can still develop, and I think he'll be a solid player for Forest. I'm not sure though he's really going to become a fantastic player at Forest, but I think he's going to be a solid player. Again, just the fee is a bit big. Ilkay Gundogan returning to City is a signing of a summer contender for me. I mean, on a free transfer, they basically just loaned him out to Barcelona, which is crazy. Here's the thing, people might think, oh, they're signing Gundogan on a free, he's washed after his time at Barca. That's actually far from the truth. He was perfectly fine at Barcelona last season. The only reason they let go of him is because they signed some other midfielders and they needed some cash desperately because of FFP to register Dani Olmo. I think if their finances were fine, they were definitely keeping Gundogan. He didn't decline at all. We saw at the World Cup, though, the Euros in the summer, that he was perfectly fine. And yeah, obviously knows the club, one of the leaders, getting back at City, knows the system, on a free transfer as well, really low risk. So yeah, signing with a summer contender. Fabio Carvalho to Brentford, I'm going to say is average. It's a pretty decent fee, quite a big fee, around 20-25 million. And it's very similar to Van der Berg one, for a player who is still relatively unproven at the top level, has never really had a proper season in the Premier League before, so has potential has done it in the Championship, but it's a big fee for somebody who hasn't necessarily done it in the Prem, but could potentially be a fantastic signing. Right, this person's head is cut off, so... Okay, Joao Felix. I'm gonna put him in the same level as Sancho. I'm gonna say meh. Again, a bit of a PSR kind of thing. He was involved in the deal with Conor Gallagher, but with Felix, we all know he's a good player, but he hasn't necessarily proven himself yet. He hasn't shown that. He showed glimpses of it at Chelsea on his loan, but wasn't consistent. Again, like Sancho, was he completely necessary? Probably not. We have a lot of players in that position already in the number 10 role, but he's not a flop because he definitely has the potential, if we can get the best out of him, to be a fantastic signing. However, given the uncertainty around what we're actually getting from him and given his track record in the last couple of years, I'm going to say meh. Because it's more than likely, again based on his track record in the last couple of years, that we're not going to get that Benfica Felix. Sam Johnston to Wolves, actually, see, I was going to say good signing, but I'm going to say average. The reason I'm going to say that is because I really like Sam Johnston as a player. I think he's actually a top quality keeper. Every time I see him play, he's a really, really nice keeper. Really good at shot stopping as well. I'm not sure about his ball playing ability, it's not the best, but he is a solid keeper. The only thing is that I'm not sure if it was necessary. Like, they have Jose Sarr, and did they need to upgrade Sarr? If they were going to sign like a Ramsdale, I'd be like, okay, yeah, cool. You know, he's quite a big upgrade on Sarr. Is Johnston much of an upgrade on Sarr? I'm not sure. So that's why I'm going to say average, but I like him as a player. Joshua Zirkzee to Man United, I'm going to say is average. I think it's alright. I think it's okay. I mean, you know, they needed a backup striker. They got it. It's a decent fee for a player. You know, but yeah, as I said, they needed a backup striker. They got it. I'm not sure he's really going to rip up trees at United, but I think he's going to be a solid player for them. So that's why I say average. Kieran Dewsbury, on the other hand, for me, again, I mean, showing I'm not biased here. I'm actually going to say flop. I just don't understand why we signed him. Like, Dewsbury always a good player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's good enough really to be playing for a club like Chelsea at this point in his career. Spent a pretty decent fee as well. It was like 30 odd million. Not necessary at all, especially given now we've signed people like Felix as well, because I'm not entirely sure how many minutes Dewsbury was going to play this season, where he's going to play. To sign a squad player for like 30 million, not really necessary in my opinion, so I think it's a flop. I think this is Gilman. Yeah, that's Gilman. Gilman, I'm going to say... okay, yeah, I'm not gonna let the start of seeing cloud my judgment here, so I'm gonna say meh. But I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be wrong about this, because when I first saw it, I was like, really, 40 million for Max Gilman? That's a lot of money for a player who was good at Wolves, but Wolves fans will tell you he was by no means amazing. And 40 million, West Ham definitely overpaid. But that being said, they did need another centre back, and he has started at West Ham really, really well. So as I said, I think this is probably one where he'll probably end up in like average or good signing even. But I have to stick to my guns here and kind of forget that and say, you know what, I do think it's a bit meh. Like, they have massively overpaid. Milenkovic. Wait, yeah, that is. Wait, no, that's Agate. Oh god. Okay, Manuel Agate to Manchester United. I'm gonna put him on the same level as Alex. I'm gonna say average as well. Look, Agate was necessary. They needed a player like that. We all know they needed a DM. They needed somebody to replace Casemiro. Very, very also no other club, given he was available, came in for him, which is a little bit concerning. They did pay a pretty big fee as well, but as I said, it's needed. It's an upgrade on Casemiro right now. He's going to help the team in the midfield, so I think that evens out to an average. Miguel Marino, I think, is a good signing. It's a good signing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say signing with summer contender. I really think it is. Purely for the fact that I think he suits the system really well at Arsenal. Going to play him at left centre mid role, and I think will be pretty good for them. We saw him at the Euros, how good he was. I can see him doing pretty well at Arsenal. I think the fee is the reason I'm going to say signing of a summer contender, because they didn't spend too much, and you know, if he really does bang, I'm not going to say he's going to like give Arsenal the title or anything, but you know, he might be able to grab some goals or have some really good performances that could be that edge in the title race. So yeah, I think it's a really good signing, especially for the fee. Archie Gray to Spurs. I'll say average. Yeah, I mean, I think Archie Gray has a lot of potential, of course, a lot of potential, especially at Leeds. You know, was absolutely terrific in the Championship last season, but they spent quite a big fee on him. I think it was around 40 million, which is a lot. That's quite a lot. So yeah, I think he'll be a good player in the future, but right now probably won't contribute too much to Spurs. And I don't think it's a starter for them yet, but he's a good player for the future. And the fee, so I think it evens out to average. Alex Moreno to Forest. I actually really like this signing. It's a good signing. They need another left back. They call it Alex Moreno. Was really good at Villa, I thought. Really good, especially as a wing back, is superb. The only reason he left is because they signed Ian Martin. They had to get rid of a left back. I think Moreno's a good Premier League player, and I think will do pretty well at Forest. Odson Edouard to Leicester. I'm gonna say average. On a loan, so you know, low risk. If it doesn't work out, we'll go back. That's the only reason I'm saying average, because in general, I mean, they need another striker. He might do well, but I mean, based on his time at Palace, he really hasn't done too much in the Premier League, if we're being honest. So yeah, not sure how much he'll contribute to them. Maxime Lacroix to Palace. I think it's a good signing. Good signing. I'm really looking forward to seeing him, Jalaba and Gay. That is going to be absolutely amazing. A decent fee. Player who has played under Oliver Glasner before, knows the Glasner system, so should do pretty well. A couple of years ago was linked to some big clubs as well, so yeah, I think it's a good signing for Palace. I believe this is Pedro Neto to Chelsea. I think evens out to an average. So in terms of Neto as a player, I really like Neto as a player. I think he's absolutely fantastic. But injuries, of course, is a big issue, and I think we have overpaid for Neto. Like, he's a good player. We did need another winger. Because, you know, this was before we signed Felix and Sancho, so at that point we only had Manueke, we only had Palmer and Mudryk. So we did need another winger, and I'm glad we got Neto in. We did overpay, and he does have injury concerns, so for that reason I'm going to say average. Lenny Yoro. Oh, this one's tough. This one is a tough one. You know, I'll say good signing. I think it's a good signing. Obviously for the future, really young, has a lot of potential. Real Madrid were obviously very keen on him, so he's clearly a very good player. But I think United have paid quite a bit for him, quite a bit of money for him. Obviously he's injured as well, which isn't ideal, but I think in the long term will prove to be a good signing. It's just I think they've overpaid slightly. Next up, I believe it's Nusa Mazraoui. Yeah, Mazraoui. Let me zoom out. Mazraoui, I think, is a good signing. Mazraoui, I like him as a player. Can play right back, can play left back if needed as well. They needed somebody to be a depth option there as well. Knows Ten Hag, has played on before. necessarily have the most amazing time at Bayern Munich, but still was pretty solid player for them. I think it's going to be a solid player. They got him for a decent fee as well, so yeah, I think it's a good signing. Matthias de Ligt, who was kind of involved in that Mazraoui signing, it was kind of like a double deal. I also think it's a good signing. I think it's a good signing. Again, similar reasons. Knows Den Haag, knows the system. And the thing is, with De Ligt, I feel like he's been kind of disrespected by a lot of people just because, Bayern were willing to sell him. Doesn't mean that he's a bad player. He was actually pretty good for Bayern Munich. He was pretty good for Juventus. Maybe he hasn't become the player that everyone thought he was going to be after his time at Ajax, but he's still become a good player, and I think it's an upgrade at centre-back on what they already have, so it's a good signing. Rodrigo Gomez. I like him a lot. From what I've seen. He looks really promising. I'm going to say a good signing. He looks like a good signing. Could prove to be a good player for Wolves and was pretty cheap. Jürgen Strand-Larsen. I also, actually, I'm going to say average. Again, from the early signs, he looks like a really good player and had a pretty good year in La Liga with Celta Vigo. They needed another striker, they got him in. The only reason he's not in good signing is because the fee is quite big. I think it's a loan with a potential option to buy, but I think the option to buy is quite big, so for that reason I'm going to say average. Reece Nelson to Fulham on loan. I think it's a good signing. They definitely needed a player like that. I'm also very glad because I did suggest him to join them in the one player every club should sign video, and usually when I do that none of the players actually join, but it seems like Fulham listened to me, so yeah, good signing, and will be a good depth option for them out wide. Next up, Ricardo Gagliafiori. I think it's a good signing as well. Really good at Italy for the Euros. Had a good year at Bologna as well. The only thing which, is a bit, was he completely necessary? Probably not. Like, we already have Timber there, we already have Zinchenko in that left back role. They have Kivior still at centre back. So was he completely necessary? No. But I like him as a player, so I think it's a good signing. Who is this? Guido Rodriguez. I also think it's a good signing. I was actually really shocked that West Ham got him. I believe Barcelona were very, very keen on him. He actually was in contract negotiations with Barca. Didn't happen, I think, mostly for financial reasons. But he's a player who, out of Real Betis, many clubs were looking at him. I thought he was going to go to a bigger club than West Ham, no disrespect, but yeah, Argentina World Cup winner. I think really cool signing. I'm not sure how necessary he was because they already have like Edson Alvarez in that position, so that's why I'm not going to say signing with summer contender, but I think it's a good signing. Aaron Ramsdale to Southampton. You know what? Okay, from a Southampton perspective, it's a good signing. This is a big coup for them because, I mean, you're getting Ramsdale, who, let's not forget, like 2 years ago was being talked about as potential England number one, was the number one for Arsenal. So, we can't just ignore that. And Southampton have just come up and they're getting him as their new number one. That's insane. From a Ramsdale perspective, I'm a bit confused why he's joined on the permanent. Like, if this doesn't work out and Southampton get relegated, he doesn't have the best year, nobody comes in for him. He's going to be playing in the Championship next season, which is mad. I'm assuming he's probably got like a relegation release clause in there somewhere. But yeah, it's a big risk from Ramsdale. I know he wants to play football, but really, like, I don't know if it's a big gamble from him, but from a Southampton perspective, it's a good signing. Oriol Mangala to Everton, I think it's also a good signing on a loan deal. Was pretty good at Forest. I'm not entirely sure why Leon have loaned him. I'm pretty sure we only just signed him as well from Forest, made that move permanent. Maybe he didn't have the best time at Lyon, but he was pretty decent at Forest, I think. And only on a loan, we had a bit of depth to that midfield for Everton, so it's not bad. Right, who is this? Carlos Soler to West Ham, I think is a good signing as well. on a straight loan, that's why I can't really boost it up anymore. There's not really a buy option in there. As you know what, for that reason I'm going to say average. I'm going to say average for that reason because there's no buy option in there, so it's just a straight loan. It's kind of like, for that, he's going to be on pretty high wages as well, so you're probably got, they're probably covering like 50% at least of his wages. And as I said, with no buy option on a loan like that with pretty high wages, you basically kind of want him to be a player who takes West Ham that really high level up, really elevates their game. Is he going to do that? I don't know. Cameron Archer to Southampton is alright, I guess. It's alright, he did it okay for Sheffield, but didn't really get too many minutes. Raheem Sterling to Arsenal. I actually think it's a good signing. I really do. I think on a loan, it's a good deal. He's a good depth option. He wasn't, that bad for Chelsea. He was inconsistent, sure, but he had some good moments as well last season for us. Has a lot of experience. Is a winner as well. Knows Arteta very, very well. Can provide depth on either wing, on the right wing, left wing. I think it's a solid signing. Only on a loan as well. Not paying all his wages. It's a good signing. Right, who is this? I don't know why all the West Ham photos are so zoomed out, by the way. Is that Somerville? Yeah, that's Somerville. Okay, Somerville and Tadivo. So Somerville, I think, is a good signing. I was quite shocked to see West Ham sign him. A lot of Premier League clubs were interested in Somerville this window. And then he's on to West Ham, which is pretty good move for West Ham because Somerville was, of course, the Championship Player of the Season last year. Absolutely insane for Leeds. Really, really young as well, so he has potential to become a real superstar for West Ham. Yeah, good depth option. I'm not entirely sure how necessary it was. Like, he's not really a starter for them, so that's why I can't push him up any higher. But I think it's a good player and a good signing. To Debo, another good signing. A bit of a coup for West Ham. Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna say signing a summer contender. That's a really big signing because Juventus were desperate to sign him. The only reason they couldn't get it done is because of financial reasons. But they were really desperate to sign him, and that kind of tells you all you need to know. If Juve are, desperate to sign him, and West Ham have gone and got him, that's pretty big. That's pretty big, and United were also linked with him as well. Dawson Adebayo, I think is alright. Centre back joined on a free transfer, pretty low risk, good decent depth option, Premier League proven. I don't think he's gonna pull up any trees, but I think it's a solid backup for us. Nikola Milenkovic, I really do like as a player. I think it's a good signing. Pretty cheap fee for a really experienced player. Been at Fiorentina a long time, a captain for them as well. Really good centre back, can also play right back if needed. I think will suit Forest's system very well. Wan-Bissaka, another good signing. Yeah, I think that they needed an upgrade at right back. They got it in Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka, attacking wise, we all know is not the best, but defensively is absolutely superb. He is absolutely superb, and I think will suit West Ham system nicely. Decent fee as well. They can get the best out of him. They've got a really solid right back on their hands. Mamardashvili, good signing. I think that it really did catch me by surprise. I'm not entirely sure where this came from. Like, was not expecting Liverpool to sign a goalkeeper. They did not need one. But Mamardashvili was absolutely superb at the Euros for Georgia. Is a really good keeper. Yeah, I think that is a good signing for the long term. I'm not going to say signing with a summer contender because he's not even going to be here until like a couple years. But yeah, I guess it's good long term planning for Liverpool. And finally we have Jake O'Brien, who I think is decent. He's decent. I think he'll suit the Everton system pretty well. Decent fee. Couple Premier League clubs were interested in him and Everton got him, so not bad. Right then, let's choose the signing of the summer. So let's start dropping some people down. Look, Emil Smith Rowe sort of teetering, so I'm going to drop him down just because, he has injury player. I'm going to drop him purely to the fact that we've gone for a cheap fee, good depth option, can play either wing, but he hasn't had the best of times since his injury. The last couple of years, he has been pretty bad. So it is kind of a little gamble in terms of, is he actually going to perform? I don't know. He could not. Then, I'm going to drop Marino. Because, as I said, I think he'll be a good player, but I'm not entirely sure he's going to be that true difference maker for the title. Probably not. I'm then going to drop Matt's FIFA because I think they did pay a pretty decent fee for him. They did pay a pretty decent fee. Dean Hudson, Gundogan and Savinho is tough. I'm going to drop Hudson. Just because he's not a guaranteed starter right away with Senesi and Sabanye there. So it's two Manchester City players, ironically. Gundogan or Savinho, who is my signing of the summer. Look, I picked him before in my predictions video. I'm going to pick him again. I'm going to stick with my boy Savio. Savinho is my signing of the summer. I just think he is absolutely superb as a player. Adds a new dimension. Him and Doku on the wings is just absolutely elite. Can play either wing as well. And yeah, I think it's really going to help Manchester City this summer. But there we go. That is the tier list done. It was a big old video. Sorry, the video was so long. But yeah, we got through all the names in the end. And yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see